Have you ever felt your chest tightens and no reason? Breath speeding up, heart racing, even though nothing dangerous was happening? That time you felt perfectly safe, and yet absolutely convinced something terrible was about to happen. That was my life, for years. In this video, I want to share what panic attacks really are, not from theory, but from inside the experience. What they taught me, why they became stronger when I started healing, and how I finally stopped being afraid of my own body. I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who lived this storm and found a way to breathe again. My panic didn't start in a dangerous place. It started in my mind, but reflected in my life with a simple thought: I have to go to work. At the time, I didn't know the job wasn't the problem. The real problem was my manager's authoritarian behavior, that hierarchy, that pressure, that feeling of being small, powerless, constantly judged. I had no boundaries, no real self-worth, no understanding of emotional addiction. I was living to prove myself to others, hoping approval would somehow keep me safe. Then one morning, while imagining another day under that pressure, it hit me. My heart started racing, pounding in my chest like it was trying to escape. My breath became short and fast. My forehead began to sweat. My mind screamed, I can't handle this. I can't go there. Something is wrong. I wasn't dying, but it felt like I was. I ran to the doctor, terrified, and he simply said, "Do not go there. Stay home." Those words stayed with me because they confirmed something I hadn't allowed myself to see. My nervous system wasn't collapsing. It was protecting me. Here's the strange truth about panic attacks. Your body is not confused. It's not broken. It's reacting to something you're trying to ignore. A panic attack is your fight or flight system firing at full power, even when nothing physical is threatening you. But emotionally, the danger feels very real. Your nervous system responds to emotional threats the same way it responds to physical ones. Fear of judgment, fear of conflict, fear of authority, fear of disappointing someone, fear of losing approval. All these fears can trigger the same biological storm as being chased by a predator. And here's the part nobody talks about. Panic attacks often become worse when your old self starts dying, and your new self hasn't fully arrived yet. I lived this when I started becoming more aware, more honest with myself. My panic didn't disappear. Some days it became even stronger. Because the old version of me, the one built on fear, people-pleasing, and proving myself, felt threatened every time I grew. It panicked. Every step toward authenticity pushed my old identity deeper into survival mode. This is why panic attacks are not random. They appear exactly where your emotional truth is being suppressed. And ironically, the more I tried to fight them, the stronger they became. Psychology calls this the second fear, the fear of the sensations themselves, the fear of the fear. The heart races a little. That's the spark. Your mind panics about the heart racing. That's the gasoline. You're not reacting to what is happening. You're reacting to what you think it means. My inner dialogue used to be, why is my chest tight? Is this a heart attack? Am I losing control? What if this never stops? That fear fed the adrenaline, and the wave grew bigger. This is why people become trapped in avoidance. your world becomes smaller. Trains, supermarkets, responsibilities, conversations, everything becomes a potential trigger. Not because the world is dangerous, but because the mind has learned to fear its own sensations. And here is where everything changed for me. One day, during a strong wave, I reached a point of absolute exhaustion, no strength left to fight. And something inside whispered, "What if I stop resisting?" It felt insane, dangerous, impossible, but I tried, not perfectly, just honestly. Here's what I did and what still helps me today. Step 1. Observe, don't absorb. When the panic started, I didn't jump into the storm. I watched it, like a scientist observing a reaction. Heartbeat fast, chest tight, breath shallow, fear present. Not catastrophes, just sensations, and that small distance was enough to breathe. Step 2. Reframe without lying. Instead of "I'm going to die," I learned to say, "Okay, body, I feel the adrenaline. You're trying to protect me." Tingling means fast breathing, not danger. My heart is working harder, isn't failing. This wasn't positive thinking. It was accurate, compassionate thinking. Step 3. Give it space. Panic thrives in resistance. When you say "go away," it pushes harder. When you say "okay, do what you need to do," the wave loses its fuel. I started imagining it like a wave, and don't give up walls. I faced it and floated. And waves always, always dissolve. Step 4. Ground the body. 5 things you can see. 4 you can touch. 3 you can hear. 2 you can smell. 1 you can taste. Presence interrupts panic. Panic lives in what if. Presence lives in what is. Step 5. Understand the message. After the wave passed, I asked myself, what was I refusing to feel? What situation activated my old wounds? What part of me felt unsafe? Every answer pointed to the same truth. You are living against yourself, and your body can't pretend anymore. Panic became a compass, not a monster, not an enemy, a messenger. Did panic disappear overnight? No. But it became less terrifying, and once the fear of panic was gone, panic lost its purpose. I didn't become panic-free. I became panic-safe, and that changed everything. Real healing wasn't learning to control panic. It was learning to stop abandoning myself. My body wasn't punishing me. It was protecting me from a life built on fear, hierarchy, and self-erasure. Panic didn't break me. It woke me up. If this resonates with you, I'd love to know, how does panic show up in your life? Even one word is enough. Mine was suffocation. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. And if you want to keep walking this journey, from emotional addiction to awareness, from fear to presence, subscribe and stay close. This path isn't easy, but we walk it together.